All right, everybody, welcome to the Mangalorian. I'm chowing down on a bagel here. Last minute, we had to change the time of today's Mangalorian because Jordan's got plans later today. But instead of canceling it, we decided to do the show anyways. We're right in the middle of the Android saga. I'm Danny. This is Jordan. What's up, man? How are you?
I'm good. I'm tired, but I'm good. Just been working my ass off this week.
It's been a busy week for me as well. I also wanted to comment that I wanted to, before we get into the manga, this week on the Koso Koso podcast, which is Dragon Quest creator Yuji Horii and Toriyama's editor Torishima, they interviewed the other two editors, and a bunch of new information came out that we never knew about Toriyama. Some stuff we did know, but there are details that have come out about this that are like kind of mind-blowing. I said to Derek Padula, and even he was like, whoa. I think anybody who's a Dragon Ball historian who really respects Toriyama saw that as being a huge revelation. And we're not going to get into all of that today. I'm actually planning on doing a video about all of that because there's so much information. But the one thing I wanted to discuss that's related to what we're talking about today, can you believe that Toriyama did not even know who Trunks' parents were going to be when he first came up with the mysterious youth? Like, how do you just come up with a character and then not even have a background ready, man? This dude was something else.
Yeah. I think to me that's just an example of the innovation that Toriyama was capable of on the fly. But to me, that just kind of confirms that originally he was just going to be some Terminator themed character. To me, that just points out that Trunks is more so a Terminator themed character than a Dragon Ball themed character.
Originally.
Right?
Yeah. I'm gonna cover all of it in a detailed video. It's just that I can't right now because there's all this Daima stuff going on, and once Daima ends, I will look deeper into that because I'm gonna cover all that. The part that made me laugh the most is when they said that when he wrote the chapter of Gohan in high school, he got bored and just said, whatever, we're gonna move on. Like, he was such a haphazard writer, man. Like, he would just, this is boring, let's do something else. Like, he wanted to entertain himself as well as other people.
Yeah. One of the fundamental things he talks about in the manga school in Shonen Jump, because they've done multiple issues where he teaches you a little bit about how to do manga, and he said that the main skill he felt that he had was an understanding of what makes other series and other media entertaining. So if he's not entertained by it, he's not going to implement it in his series because he knows it's not entertaining.
And he watches a lot of movies. We've gone over this. A lot of movies, a lot of Sentai. Like, he's seen a lot of the same stuff that we've seen. Obviously, he's older than us. He saw a lot more World War II movies and Westerns and things like that the older generation liked. But all of that was incorporated to Dragon Ball. So we had a pre-stream super chat come in from Sleep. Now, this is the
more other than that too. Actually, there's two more if you scroll up farther.
Okay, we're gonna get those real quick. Thank you, Jordan. But I wanted to let Sleep know this is the Mangalorian. This is not typically a Dragon Ball Daima. We're not like, this is not a Daima stream. You know what I mean? We're going to be covering the original manga. Now, I appreciate the super chat. I'm not saying that you're not allowed to ask questions. Just we can't. If we start going off talking about Daima now, bro, we'll never be done. We got to cover volume 29 today, which is going to go from Goku versus 19 all the way to Vegeta versus 18. So we have a lot of stuff to cover. He says, in my opinion, the only thing they need to explain in the next episode is how Shin and Kibito refused. We don't need an SS4 explanation. People should use context clues for that. Well, me and Jordan did. And we explained not only in the stream that we did together, but I did an individual video and you did an individual video about Super Saiyan 4 and how it's magic based. And of course, people are in denial, but whatever. They're in denial until they accept it. But yeah, I hope they close it out with They're going to close it out well, but you're not going to have everything answered for you. Ranabir Mitro says, new subscriber, and I've binged the entire Mangalorian playlist and more.
Right.
Really grateful to you and Jordan for teaching us the core theme concept of Dragon Ball.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's why we decided to make this a series, because the idea was down the road, years down the road, if somebody wants to learn about each manga chapter, we could have made it in video format, but I think a stream works better.
Yeah.
277060 says, this arc unintentionally had the best plot twists, but how do you think the arc could have played out if 19 and Garo or 17 and 18 had been the big bads? Well, I think it wouldn't have had as many twists, but I also, because I've thought about this before, the arc without 17, 18, 16, and Cell would not have gone more than a few chapters. Like,
right.
How could they have carried it on with just these two as the villains? Like, how could they have actually carried that on? It's not enough. Like, it's sort of like how when Toriyama was writing the Frieza saga, he we'll get back to that in a minute. He created the Ginyu Force because he didn't feel that there was enough build up for the Frieza fight, that he wanted to postpone that. So he brought in the Ginyu Force as Frieza's special forces, which was not they were not originally in that volume. And now we know even more so from the editors that he really, really was. He's a very unique guy, bro. Toriyama's 1 in a million, because for a guy to go so back and forth on ideas and still have it make sense, that's kind of wild.
It is wild, yeah.
How do you feel it would have gone if 19 and 20 were the only villains? I don't know, man. I wouldn't have been that interesting.
You know, it's funny because I remember as a kid seeing 19 and 20, I actually was legit kind of freaked out by them. Like, they aren't necessarily like the most intimidating, scary looking figures of all time, but I do remember when I first saw this arc and I first saw those characters, I was like, oh wow, these guys are kind of freaky. With that being said, though, I am glad that they weren't cut out, that his editor pointed out that they weren't cut out to be main villain material, because this arc is way better with the editorial control that his editors have. Well, it's way better.
And I will say this, the reason why, and we're going to get into this more in later Mangalorians, because right now is not the time, but Cell makes this arc, I know it sounds silly, but Cell makes the Cell arc work because he's the first villain we've had that has had to progressively transform and absorb people to get stronger. Majin Buu did it, but that was after. So we have, and one thing I love about this arc, and it goes to Toriyama's genius, because he didn't plan it this way, but it worked out this way. I mean, there's probably some planning, but not as much as people think. Gohan and Cell were both set to close off the arc, and Toriyama built each one of them up at the same time. Gohan becomes Super Saiyan, Cell absorbs 17. Gohan gets stronger. No, I'm sorry. Gohan trains with Goku, Cell absorbs 17 because he goes in. Cell absorbs 18, becomes perfect. Gohan learns Super Saiyan. So it was a progressive buildup, and we had not seen that before because Frieza was already strong. Vegeta was already strong. Cell had to get strong, and that's cool. Like, that's new for a villain.
Yeah, it is. That is new. And also, I think what sets Cell apart and what makes him unique, and I mean, this whole arc kind of has that vibe, is he almost comes off like a horror villain.
Yes, a lot of people have said that.
Yeah, I think that's part of what makes him work, is that he is unbelievably jarring for the series itself. Like, the dynamics of his character and like the way that this arc is directed, like in terms of how Toriyama drew the panels, is not the same as the Frieza arc. You can tell that he is actually trying to implement even more so like an 80s action film type approach to this arc. And so it's unique in a lot of different ways, but I do think that the way that Cell is structured as a character really does define this arc in comparison to the other ones. Although I will say the arc does start off strong with the androids also kind of being treated like, you know, in a different way to the Saiyans. They're being treated as a threat to the entire planet. The Saiyans would just show up and, you know, blow up entire cities, and then they fought the main cast. The Saiyans are literally running around like something you would see in a sci-fi film, killing people with their eye beams and stuff like that.
You mean the androids?
Yeah, the androids, my bad. Yeah, right. So it's different. Yeah, it's a little bit
Not
different.
to mention, you and I have talked a lot, and if you listen to past Mangalorians, we've discussed how Vegeta evolved by learning how to sense ki and the importance of sensing energy in combat. We see it in the Vegeta saga, the Saiyan arc, and the Frieza saga. Toriyama decides to throw us off for a loop and say, oh, these artificial humans, you can't sense their ki. So he creates a new challenge for Goku and them. And this arc has problems. We're going to get to it, but there's a lot of really smart writing here because Toriyama sort of goes back on what was established in the previous arc to create a new type of villain.
Yeah, he gives them Frieza's weakness, which is interesting.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Speed Punch says, hot take, Vegeta turning Super Saiyan was the last time Super Saiyan was unique until Daima. Like Vegeta's a Super Saiyan, then afterward it was okay. Well, the bargain sale joke is a self-referential joke, but what do you think about that? Like, I actually like the fact that it's okay. I love that in this arc, we've got 4 Saiyans and a Namekian. That's the main cast.
Yeah.
Ten Shinhan has his moment. Yamcha, not really, but ultimately it's Goku, Vegeta, and their sons. And this arc, and we're gonna get to it, so please be patient in future Mangalorians. This arc, a lot of it's about father and son. A lot of the themes of this arc is the difference between how Vegeta and Trunks treat each other and how their relationship developed, because there's an arc there, a really well-written arc. I respect Toriyama even more after that interview, bro. And then Goku and Gohan and their relationship. So that there's a lot. Fuck, bro. It just, every time I would get on one of these tangents, bro, all I think about is these fucking morons who say that Dragon Ball has no story. Like, you have to be stupid. I don't want to say the R word, but you have to be. Because there's cool shit all over it, bro. All right, slow down with the super chats, y'all. We got to get back on topic because I want to get to the manga. Speed Punch says, again, like I said the other day, stop sending me money. Like, remember I said that on stream because I was overwhelmed. But I do appreciate it. Just make sure your questions are about what we're talking about, bro. We haven't even started yet. After the Self-Saga, Toriyama do whatever he wanted, which is why in the Buu arc, and after it was more of a gags and especially Daima.
Well, I don't know about whatever he wanted, but Toriyama definitely he definitely took advantage of the I guess you could say the issues with the editorial process. That's part of the reason that Goku was got to be an adult, is because by the time he sent it to the that change story wise to the editorial department, it was too late. They had to let him grow Goku up. So I don't know about him doing exactly what he wanted, but yeah, I do think that Buu Saga is much more Toriyama in his own element. For sure.
And now that we had that interview, they were saying like, oh, he wants to go back to how shit used to be, his roots. And I tell people, and they don't listen, because what do I know? What do I know about Dragon Ball? I tell them Toriyama is a gag manga writer at heart. It's not that he can't go dark, because we've seen him go dark. But Daima, the way it is, why it's so goofy, is part of Toriyama's. It's him.
His
it's
wackiness.
The way wackiness. If Vegeta stayed dead after Frieza killed him, do you think Trunks is still a character? And would he be the child of Bulma and Yamcha? Well, that's what we were talking about earlier in the stream. I'm not. If he were the son of Bulma and Yamcha, he couldn't be a Super Saiyan at
Right.
all. So they
Right.
would have. Toriyama would have had to have given him a new backstory. He probably would have explained that Vegeta had a son in space he didn't know about. Like, you know, he impregnated some alien bitch with 5 titties or some shit, and
Well,
had
it's
like,
interesting because he still has the Capsule Corporation the Capsule Corporation coat, as well as being a Super Saiyan, right?
well,
So
yeah, and that's what I'm saying is Toriyama had to change that design right before it was published.
right,
Yeah. The answer is there probably wouldn't have been a Trunks. We would
probably
have
not.
got a totally different arc. Yeah, it would have been something totally different. Sleep says, I find it funny that I get trashed on for reading the manga and liking other anime, and some still think I'm not a true Dragon Ball fan. Well, I don't know who trashes on you, bro, but fuck them. Listen,
Yeah.
bro, nobody gets trashed on more than me on a daily basis. Fuck them. That's all you got to remember. Fuck them. All right, Shamar. This is the first time Vegeta becomes good along Piccolo being focused to fight the android. No, he's not good yet, bro. He's far from it. He's fighting alongside Goku's group, but he's not a good guy
Yeah.
yet. We're
It's
still
like
in the
whenever
middle.
Piccolo helped Goku fight Raditz, he wasn't necessarily a good guy yet, you know?
Right. It's exactly that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend, but he's on his way, but he's not there yet.
Right. All right, let's get into the manga.
Let's get into the manga. Yes. Get out of this. Okay. There we go. Chapter 342, Goku defeated. This is, of course, the battle with 19.
Gohan driving underage in a Volkswagen.
Yep. Right there. There he is, because Piccolo didn't get his license. So Goku's getting his ass kicked. He's breathing hard. Now 19 absorbed that Kamehameha, and he's fucking whooping up on him. I mean, he's just, Goku can't do shit. And people know that Goku, in theory, should be stronger than this. But he's getting beaten up. He's about to fire a ki blast, and Piccolo says, don't do it. He's just going to absorb the energy. And Goku's already lacking in energy. So then he starts to grab his chest. And Gohan realizes it. I knew it. Dad's sick. His heart. The heart virus hit Goku in this timeline. Now, because of what's called the butterfly effect, which I may do. I did a video on it during Super. I might do another one at some point. When Trunks went back in time and gave Goku the heart virus medicine, he changed the timeline inadvertently because of the butterfly effect. This is why the androids changed. This is why Goku got the heart attack at a different time. Even though Goku trained, the heart attack or the heart virus happened differently in Trunks' timeline.
Right.
So it just so happens, I think Goku thought that maybe he had worked out enough, like, you know, exercised and trained enough to not get the virus. But no, he still got it.
My theory is that, of course, the virus would develop more over time. That's true. But I also think that Goku clearly pushing himself had an impact on when the virus really started to take hold. Yeah. I do think that using basically stress to his heart is making the virus more apparent. You know what I mean? So.
All right. Clip says, actually, the timeline got changed with Cell travel here. I know that. Like I said, we're not talking about Cell yet. We haven't got there yet, brother. You got to be patient. I see people talking about Cell. We are going to get to Cell. Not in this volume because he hasn't been introduced yet, but we are going to talk about it.
Yeah, and technically, the butterfly effect is a really weird thing. People have different ways of looking at how it affects time. So, for example, just Cell traveling to another timeline may create another timeline.
Yeah.
But he's just sitting there in a ship. He's not doing anything to change what's going on. Like, he's literally just like, he might as well be an inanimate object. Like, that's the reason they don't find him until like way later, you know.
But remember though, the butterfly effect, the way it works is if you kill one butterfly, you affect. Right. So in theory, let's say Cell goes back in time, goes into his larva form, digs in the ground, and accidentally kills an ant farm. that would qualify as being the butterfly effect.
Yeah.
Now, I agree with you that I don't think he made any major changes to the
exactly.
timeline.
There's varying degrees of the change.
Yeah, but Trunks made more changes than he did,
Yeah.
for sure. So the thing is, you could argue which one made more changes. I think Trunks did, but the point is that things were changed. So Goku's getting all fucked up and shit, and then they give him a Senzu, right? And then this guy's like, "Oh, so this is the fabled Senzu that can restore you." Of course, they don't need that shit. I beam, and then he's coming after Goku, knocking him on his ass. I mean, it's pretty much. The Senzu didn't work. Says it right there. The Senzu will not, and that's the thing about the Senzu beans. They're supposed to work, but they do have limitations. You know, Gohan had a broken neck on Namek. Goku gave him a Senzu and it healed him. This heart virus, I think, and this is headcanon, but I think if your vital organs, your heart, your lungs, if they are infected with a virus, the Senzu might heal like the damage that the virus did, but it's not going to get rid of the virus. In this case, it didn't do shit.
Yeah.
Goku's getting his ass kicked, and then he gets his ass kicked so much that he gets knocked out of Super Saiyan.
I can just imagine how intense this would be reading it the first time, seeing Goku get pummeled like that.
Yeah, man, because I've always liked how Toriyama always wrote Goku to lose and then win, which is why when people say Goku always loses and Goku always wins, they're stupid because
Goku doesn't win that often, honestly.
He doesn't lose that often either, though. Like he has a pretty balanced win-loss record. He won a lot more as a kid though against jobbers. Angel says, could Android 19 and 20 absorb a universal spirit bomb? I'm not sure about that one, bro. That might be too much for them. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it might be the same principle as like Sangambo, where he like blows up because he's got too much ki. I think it might be like a similar thing with that.
All right, so he puts his hand on Goku's neck, and now he's starting to suck him. Pause his energy. And they're trying to interfere, but 20 gets in the way, and he's like, nope, this is a one-on-one fight. And then Piccolo goes to swing at him, and then this dude fires an eye blast and hits him.
Those eye blasts are a hell of a weapon. You can literally just look at somebody and hurt them. It's like,
Yeah, it's like a double Frieza's death beam.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like that. Okay. He's too fast. And then bam, he gets kicked. And we have the return of Vegeta, whom we have not seen since Trunks' arrival. The task of defeating Kakarot is mine alone, which is the line he would use in all the Dragon Ball Z movies.
That trope.
Yeah. You junkyard puppets have no part in it. Chapter 343, Vegeta makes his appearance. So Vegeta is here he's saving Goku, but he's doing it in a way where he can, he
can still be a villain.
Well, yeah, he can take him out himself. So, yeah. So here comes Vegeta, and he says, you ignored the symptoms and turned into a Super Saiyan anyway, idiot.
Yeah. That right there implies that Super Saiyan made it worse, by the way.
Yes, it did.
Him saying that, like that literally implies that. So
because Super Saiyan puts stress on your body.
Yeah, on your heart particularly, yeah.
Yeah, and it probably, not to sound like we're using real science here, but it probably raises your cortisol. In real life, when you do high-intensity workouts, you burn a lot of fat, you burn a lot of glucose, but you also raise your cortisol, which is the stress gene. This fighting is kind of like working out, especially like this.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, look at this. So Bulma's not pregnant. Bro, this is your first time ever reading Dragon Ball, bro? I'm not going to pick on you, but they literally show Bulma with the baby in the previous chapter. She's holding him. So, Super Saiyan puts more stress on your heart, like we talked about, and that's why Super Saiyan and Ultra Instinct can't really mix, because Ultra Instinct is like you have your body's moving on its own, whereas Super Saiyan, you're controlling it and it's eating up your power. And then he kicks Goku away to Piccolo. I love it. I love how he just kicks him away to Piccolo, bro.
Yeah, I always thought that was awesome, especially when I first saw it in the anime. I was like, whoa.
Someone drag him back home and shove that wonder drug on his down his throat. I love it, bro. Vegeta is in rare form in this.
He's definitely feeling himself, that's for sure.
Yes, we did say Vegeta is still
Vegeta
evil.
is still evil. He can get Bulma pregnant and still be evil, bro.
Yeah, bro, he can get Bulma pregnant and still be evil. With all due respect, you know how many men have gotten women pregnant that are evil, bro? I mean, Fidel Castro had how many kids? Genghis Khan had how many kids? Since when do you have to be a good guy to have a kid, bro? Right. Shit. Now, if your whole thing is, well, Bulma picked the wrong guy, yeah, but a lot of women get knocked up by the wrong guy in the real world. So in many ways, this is very realistic.
Yeah.
And Vegeta is kind of a bad boy, you know, little edgy. I can see why a chick could be turned on by him. I get it. I mean, I was with a chick once I was turned on by him. Not as much as I turned her on, though, for a time. So anyways, Yamcha's taking Goku away. So for the first time, Goku's the one that's kind of bodied and Yamcha's the one that's saving him.
Yeah, that's interesting, yeah.
And then he's saying, don't chase after him. Let's save him for last. Let's get rid of these guys instead, one by one, right? And this is where Krillin's like, wait a minute, didn't that boy from the future say without Goku, we're all dead?
Yeah. He's like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, guys, but
we're not supposed to survive.
Save Goku, yeah.
Yeah, even if history has changed, that still doesn't change how terrifying they are. 19 asks 20 if he can handle Vegeta, which, yeah. Greedy pig, you've already raised your maximum power by drawing the energy of Son Goku. Yet you asked for more? So be it, but in exchange, I alone will take out the remaining 4. So he says that Android 19 is now at his absolute max power. So Vegeta will be fighting him in his max power.
And it's almost like they're like fighting over scraps because he's like, you pig, you want all the energy to yourself, which is funny.
Yep. And now Vegeta is talking shit, talking a lot of shit because he's good at it. You know, he's all like, you seem surprised when Kakarot became a Super Saiyan, considering you know all about us, that is, which means that part of your data prior to our encounter with Frieza is suppositional, which means it's incomplete. You can't ascertain the power we Saiyans possess by mere calculations, which is true. That's what that is right there, bro. What he just said. You can't ascertain the power of Saiyans possess, the power we Saiyans possess by mere calculations, is Toriyama bearing the idea of a scouter. And let's not forget that Vegeta came to Earth with a scouter. So this is, again, this arc flips shit on its head. You're fighting an enemy that can't sense, that you can't sense their energy, who can suck your energy, and this. So Xavier says Bulma wanted the perfect boyfriend. He fell from space. Well, they're both royalty.
I've seen that meme, bro. That Lilo and Stitch meme. I know what you're talking about.
I haven't seen that meme. You have to show me later.
Yeah.
So Vegeta goes Super Saiyan quickly because in the manga there was none of that. It just kind of happened. Big explosion. Everyone's shocked because, wait a minute, Vegeta's a Super Saiyan? Now it's funny. With one of my exes, I watched the anime with her. And when she saw this, she was like, it was her first time. She had never seen it before. She's like, he can do it too? Because it's implied in the previous arc
that he couldn't do it because he had issues in comparison to Goku, right?
No, well, that's not what I was going to say. It's implied that a Super Saiyan only appears every 1,000 years.
Oh, yeah.
And that's false. It's not that. It's that the last time there was a Super Saiyan that Vegeta knew about, it was 1,000 years ago.
Right.
Let's get to this. We haven't got here yet, but we're pretty much there. He says the super chat here from RPT. Vegeta's pure evil refers to his pride, ego, and determination, not morality. His self-centered drive aligns with Eastern views on selfishness as a negative. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, so the reason Vegeta can become a Super Saiyan is because so when they talk about pure evil in comparison to having a pure heart, so just to break this down a little bit, evil is doing evil knowing that it's evil.
Right.
Pure evil is doing evil thinking that you are in the right. And that is what Vegeta has going for him. He is so dedicated to his cause as a person that they explain this. I've seen another article where they explain this, talk about this. You know how like the Knights Templar, like they clearly murdered like a bunch of people, right? Like but in
the name of God,
in their head, they were justified in doing it because they had a false perception of morality. And that's exactly what's going on here with Vegeta. Now, what I find particularly fascinating about Vegeta's Super Saiyan transformation in comparison to Goku is that Vegeta transformed due to the death of himself. Rather than, and when I mean the death of himself, I don't mean like his actual death. I mean that he was losing he was losing his identity. The idea of Vegeta not being who he was, like who he thought he was, the self-loathing that he felt as a result of being like, oh, I'm not the Vegeta that I thought I was, is the reason he was triggered to become Super Saiyan. He has a psychological reaction to that, which I think is very interesting because it's like a really cool parallel to Goku reacting to Krillin's death, except with Vegeta, he's reacting to the death of his own psyche. You know what I mean? And that's very interesting.
Yeah. And the death of his confidence, because when he fought Frieza, he lost the will to fight for the first time in his life. This is like Vegeta rebuilding himself. And I respect that. Like the other day on Twitch, we were watching the Vegeta saga, like the final fight with Gohan and Vegeta, the anime version. And I was making it clear to the people in the chat that Vegeta's tough. Like Toriyama made Vegeta a tough motherfucker. You understand what I'm saying? Like he put up with a lot of pain. He gets his ass beat a lot and he keeps coming. And when you have a character that's a villain, but like is tough, the audience subconsciously respects him. And therefore, it's easier to turn him into a good guy later. Vegeta was popular before he actually turned good. He didn't turn good. His character arc concluded in the Majin Buu saga. He already had fans in the Frieza saga and the Cell saga because he's so tough, and people respect that. It's like a subconscious thing.
Yeah, people who respect that type of drive and that type of capability to be able to withstand that much punishment and still like try to achieve your goals has always related to Vegeta in that way.
Yeah. Yes, and the thing is, the English dub, because of course they had to, completely butchered that scene where Vegeta talks about turning Super Saiyan by adding a bunch of dialogue where he's like, "I just stopped caring, and then it happened." When that's not what happened. He never stopped caring. If he stopped caring, he would have never got the form.
That's right.
But the English dub has for years fucked up this franchise, and I have to be the one to clean up the fucking mess. And people don't want me to clean it up because they want to live in their own shit like pigs. Well, okay. Justin Sullivan said Vegeta's first Super Saiyan transformation is by far one of the most badass moments in both the Android saga and one of the best in Vegeta's fighting career. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. It's one of my favorite Vegeta moments for sure.
I just stopped caring. Fuck you. Vegeta never stopped caring. That's the problem, is he cared too much about his envy for Goku and Trunks as they were able to go Super Saiyan.
Yeah, he even says right here, he's like, whenever I became the Super Saiyan, it's like I got my identity back. That's basically what he's saying.
He got his confidence, how Stella got her groove back.
Yeah.
Like that movie. Yeah. So here comes 19. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. I remember that's what he sounded like in the anime. He gets the first hit in on Vegeta. Good punch. Vegeta's bleeding. And he's smiling. Like, okay, whatever. Like, and then he says, I failed to mention earlier that when I become a Super Saiyan, I tend to be a little less forgiving.
Yeah.
I find myself becoming somewhat overzealous in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, this kind of highlights the effect that Goku was dealing with on Namek. That's kind of the point of this little scene here, is to show you like Vegeta and Goku both have the same things that they're going through when they become a Super Saiyan. It's just that Vegeta reacts to it totally different than Goku does. He embraces the fact that it makes him merciless, so that makes him scarier.
I take it you don't feel pain. Is that right? How lucky for you. Rakido Tara. He says some shit like that. I don't see credit to Akira Toriyama in the title, bruh. That's right, bro. We got to do that. All right, so he kicks the shit out of fucking 19, elbows him, kicks him again, knocks him on the ground. 20 is stunned. Chapter 334, the artificial humans lose their cool. Vegeta stalking him. He's like, what happened to your calculations? He gets up. Vegeta steps back, drop kicks him up, goes up to meet him in the sky. They start to go back and forth. Vegeta with a right hand. And then he's like, is that blood or some kind of oil? That was in the show as well. He fucking hold on. What's your top 10 DB insert songs? Brother, we do not have time to do a top 10.
I cannot sit here and think of 10.
We can't sit here and do a top 10, dude. Like that's going to take forever and we don't have time. My favorite one is Spirit No Spirit. Umne no Hi Tamashi Tai Tamashi, the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan theme. That's my favorite insert song.
To be honest.
And Battle Point Unlimited is another good one too. That's the Trunks one.
Oh yeah, that is a good one. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Let's see here. Yep, he goes down, creates a big ass crater. 19's taking a lot of damage here. He gets up and grabs Vegeta because he's losing energy. And now he's like, I'm going to drain your energy. And Vegeta like lets him. That's the funny part. Putting his feet on his face. This is one of the first fan subs that I ever got was these episodes. So wow. I vividly remember them. Yeah, the Vegeta. I might have the tape in there somewhere. Vegeta puts his feet on his face, which it might not hurt, but it looks uncomfortable. And he pulls and he rips his arms off, bro, which is exactly what he wanted to do. He rips the arms off, and now that power absorption shit is gone. Now his trick is done. Justin says, oh no, Dandroid Schneider is groping Vegeta. I can see that. Oh man, you're fucked up.
He does like to touch people, that's for sure.
Dan Snyder or 19?
Both.
Oh, okay. Well, but does 19 go after feet? I guess, you know what? I guess when Vegeta had his feet in his face, I guess it is Dan Snyder, bro. I guess that is Dan Snyder right there, bro. He's having the time of his life. So now that Vegeta rips his arms off, the androids are pretty much done. Like,
yeah,
in the sense of like when you rip their arms off or their hands, they can't absorb energy anymore. Like that's it. Their trump card is gone.
Yep.
You've drained quite a bit from me, but you're not able to do that anymore, huh? You really can feel fear. Isn't that right, you puppet bastard? And then he starts to run away like a pussy. And then Vegeta gets up and he's like, don't be in such a rush. Once I'm finished with this one, I'll take my precious time with you to Android 20.
Yeah, and Garo is freaking out too. Look at his face.
Yeah. I love it. Take this, Super Vegeta's Big Bang Attack. The debut of the Big Bang Attack, which he said in English. Because when Toriyama came up with Vegeta's moves, they weren't moves in Japanese like Taioken, Kaioken.
Well, this
Zanzo
move,
Ken.
the name of this move predates Vegeta. Actually, Cashman had this move first,
Right.
but
Right. But it was a little different, but yeah.
but it was a kick. It wasn't a blast. It was like a kick. So,
Do you think Toriyama forgot all about Cashman?
No. I think he was just like, oh, that's a decent name. Let me reuse that. You know what I mean? Like,
but it's cool because my point is that all of Vegeta's moves are in English.
Yeah.
Final Flash, Big Bang Attack. Whereas in Japanese, like to say Big Bang Attack in Japanese, right? Let me actually hold
my
on.
door just flew open. I'm gonna close it.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna see if I can look this up here. You back?
I'll be right there.
Okay, so Big Bang Attack in Japanese would be Biguban Kogeki, right? Biguban Kogeki. But instead, he just says Big Bang Attack in English. And that's funny because English does not exist in the world of Dragon Ball. The language that everybody speaks is called Galactic Standard.
Right. It's kind of like Star Trek. They did something similar in that. I think Star Wars too did something similar.
Yeah, because Star Wars is in a galaxy far, far away, but they happen to speak English. The point is that it's Vegeta's the one character whose moves get English names no matter what.
Right.
So he blasted this motherfucker and nuked him. 19 is dead. All that's left is his head, bro. And I love that. I love that the head is all that was left over. You know?
Yeah, it's kind of like Android 16. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that was much later. It's true this wasn't our calculations, but the fact remains that you have absolutely no possibility of achieving victory. And Vegeta's like, did you not see what I just did? Number 20 runs away, chapter 345. So 19 is done. Vegeta powers down. And basically he tells 20, just attack me now because I'm tired. Your boy took my energy. You know?
Yeah, Vegeta's he's like unbelievably cocky as a Super Saiyan. Like you thought he was cocky before, but man, like he's really cocky now.
And he gets even cockier later on when he taps into fucking grade 2 and grade 3 when he becomes Super Vegeta. He's really, really cocky then. So 20 tries to run away, and then he asks for a Senzu. And of course, Krillin hesitates because he's used to fighting against this guy. So he gets his power back, goes Super Saiyan, and then he's like, just go home and have a nice cold glass of milk. I'll take care of this. Of course, that's not going to happen. And Piccolo is like, yeah, Piccolo basically saying we can't just leave because if 20 takes his energy, then we might actually be fucked.
Yeah.
Justin says, by far one of the best victories Vegeta has ever had. I agree. After what Dan Schneider did to Goku and in such a dishonorable way, no less, seeing that fat ass beaten the way he did was very satisfying. Yeah, It's not the most satisfying win, but I think for Vegeta fans, it's definitely a highlight.
Yeah, you know having his arms ripped off is brutal. I will say that.
Yeah. I love it. So, Piccolo knows that he'll be hiding in the mountains and shit. Like he knows the strategy. All right. Kiryu, the Dragon Warrior, Moro, and Jocko feel more inspired by Cashman. Well, Jocko certainly was. Well, Moro like sprung out from Jocko, but Jocko definitely was because they're Galactic Patrolmen.
Yeah.
So that's for sure a thing. All right. So he's hiding in the mountains because remember, they can't sense energy. And Vegeta's over here trying to figure out where he's at. So he's randomly blasting like the area. The thing that's funny about this, though, is I think like Vegeta's a Super Saiyan. and he could have destroyed the Earth in the Saiyan saga. This guy throwing these key balls is very risky considering how strong he is.
Yeah, and it also reminds me a lot of whenever here later on in the arc, which I'm sure all of you already know what happens. So I guess hopefully I'm not spoiling anything for you.
Let's
But
hope not.
It reminds me a lot of whenever Imperfect Cell is looking for 18, and he's just like destroying the islands around him. I've noticed there's a lot of stuff they do with Vegeta like that is similar to what they do with the villains later. That's something I've noticed in this arc.
So 20 comes up from the rocky area and absorbs all of this energy from the blast. So it's already like bad. But Vegeta, I guess he forgot or whatever, but he managed to get him out. But then 20 disappeared again.
Yeah, that strategy wouldn't work in the long term. It might draw him out once, but it's not going. All it's going to do is he's just going to keep popping out and absorbing energy and hiding, and they can't keep that up. So
he says this freak is even faster than I gave him credit for. He's become so accustomed to sensing out his opponent's ki that he has lost his eye for movement. This is 20 talking. I can see you quite well, but will prove incapable of finding me. See, this right here is something that I think a lot of fans don't pay enough attention to. Vegeta and the other warriors have learned through martial arts how to sense energy, but now they've become so dependent on it that their eyes are not as focused as they used to be. And that is a very, very interesting statement made because it contradicts, not in a bad way. It makes sense, but it's the inverse, not contradicts. It's the inverse of the importance of sensing ki, of why Goku learned through training with Kami and Popo that you can be much faster. It's not about what you see. You can be much faster if you can sense someone's energy. That's been like the recurring thing going back to the 23rd tournament. Now, because these motherfuckers don't have the regular energy, because they're androids, you can't sense them. It's like, you have to figure out something else.
Yeah, he's really exaggerating the fact that they can't sense their issue or their energy is a major issue. Like in this section of the story. Yeah.
But it's a new challenge. 20 says, still, I must admit I had no idea that Vegeta would become this strong. What do I do? He's well on guard. I suppose I have no other choice but to return to the laboratory. I would have liked to avoid the laboratory if at all costs. However, it seems I have no choice.
I really like that Garo is like really feeling himself as an android. Like you can tell that like he really likes the fact that he's superhuman. Like you can really tell.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he took his brain and put it into a mechanical body that looks just like his real, well, not just like, but that looks close to his real body. So people think that Elon Musk wants to do that shit, bro. Have you heard about how Elon Musk wants to upload his brain
I've seen memes about it. I've seen like video clips about it, animations, like all kinds of crazy stuff where they're talking about how he wants to either upload his brain to the Matrix or create an artificial body for himself, all these wild things.
Yeah, right. And and 20 already beat him to it. He says, what a fortunate twist of fate. If I drain all of their energy and add it to my own, I'll become more powerful and take on Vegeta. Trunks returns, chapter 346. So they're all looking for him. He's hiding. He's trying to figure out what he's going to do. He comes up from behind Piccolo and pretty much does a body lock and puts his hand over his mouth so Piccolo can't talk. And while this is happening, he's absorbing his energy. But Piccolo telepathically talks to Gohan. Was this something that Toriyama forgot? Because there's been a lot of times where people can talk telepathically and they don't.
Yeah. Somebody asked if we would do what Dr. Garo did and like put our brains in like a artificial body. Would you do that?
I don't know. I don't think so, bro.
All right.
I don't think so, bro.
Interesting.
All right, let's see here. And then Gohan senses it, and he comes up from behind 18, or I'm sorry, 18, 20, and he knocks 20 away. So 20 goes down. Everybody hears it because now they know they found his ass, and now he's surrounded. So they're in trouble. And they're like, give Piccolo the Senzu. Piccolo takes it, and then he takes off his weighted clothing, and then he says, let me have him, Vegeta. Don't you dare interfere with this fight. And then Vegeta's like, if you want to die, I'm not going to stop you. But won't you just be giving him more energy? And then Piccolo's like, nah, I got this fucking guy. And the thing is, this is once again another one of those situations where, and then we've talked about this many times, if they just ganged up on him, they could beat him and we could be done with this shit. But because they want to fight one-on-one, every time they want to fight one-on-one, shit doesn't go their way.
Yeah, and
sometimes,
particularly here, it's very clear that like Vegeta and Piccolo are trying to make up for getting their ass beat in the previous arcs as well.
Yeah. So, and by getting their energy drained by him.
Right.
Yeah. Big knee to the face. Back he goes. Drops an elbow. He's getting his ass kicked. And now he's saying, there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to defeat him, especially after adding his energy to my own. So Piccolo is the reason why Piccolo is so tough here is because unlike the future timeline version, Piccolo in the present timeline knew the androids were coming. Now, people are going to say, well, sure, but Piccolo always trained. And that's true. Piccolo was a guy who would consistently train. But if you know there's a fight coming up, you're going to train harder and more disciplined. And don't forget the butterfly effect. Speaking of which, here comes the return of Trunks. Now, if you really want to deal with a mind fuck, if you really want to stay up till 3 a.m. in the morning, ask yourself this question. Is this truly the same Trunks that went back in time the first time? And the reason why I say that is because the original Trunks in the manga said 19 and 20. This one has a whole different outlook. Now, I once had a discussion with Kaiser Neko, which is Scott from Team 4-Star, about this, and he does not believe it's the same. It is the same Trunks as far as like the DNA, but it's not the same Trunks as far as being from the same timeline. He thinks the different Trunks. What do you think?
I think it's the same Trunks.
I think Toriyama tried to go for it being the same Trunks, but I'm not sure if he really thinks it.
Yeah, I think that to make it to where there's 3 Trunks makes things so convoluted because there's already going to be another Trunks that Cell killed, right?
Yes.
So right. I think having 3 just makes it way too convoluted. I don't think that's the reason. I don't think that's how Toriyama was thinking about it at all. I think it's literally just like a side effect of the editorial department, you know.
Well, it's also the fact that Toriyama himself admitted, especially with that interview, that the time travel stuff got really convoluted.
Yeah, exactly.
And it did. That's why there are videos that we've had to put out. I mean, I put one out a while ago, mostly super. Quamman has a great video called Quamman's Dragon Ball Timeline Theory, I think it's called, or Alternate Timeline Theory. And he pretty much nailed it. Like, he pretty much nailed it, like how everything works. But there is still debate amongst the fandom about whether or not this is the same Trunks. Justin says, what's with the androids and wanting to touch people? We now have number 20 doing bad touch on Piccolo. At least Piccolo fought him off. I don't know, bro. Maybe he went to one of those Diddy parties. I don't know, man. So Trunks,
that oil, bro.
So he's like, he doesn't understand. He's like, I arrived late after all. No sign of Goku-san. The others, like, what happened? The island's a wreck. Like, he doesn't know what's going on. He sends his key. Then he flies off. Meanwhile, 20 and Piccolo are going at it. And then we have a little cutaway to Yajirobe and Baby Trunks, which is adorable. And then this Trunks flies right by them. So the baby version of him is right there. Meanwhile, look what Piccolo did. He got one of his arms or one of his hands. He knows that
he messed up. Yeah.
He knows that that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do to beat one of these fucking guys. So Jay Field says, was Goku's heart virus onset because he became a Super Saiyan, or was he always going to get it? Was it related to his rage? How did Vegeta become SSJ pure evil heart? Okay, wait. You asked a lot of questions there. First of all, yes, he was going to get the virus no matter what. But like we said earlier, when he went Super Saiyan, he aggravated it by raising the stress of his heart. So he made it worse. Now, when you say, was it related to his rage? Not really. How did Vegeta become Super Saiyan with pure heart? Because he trained his ass off. And do you want to explain the pure heart thing? We talked about it earlier.
Yeah. I'll just summarize it, even though we already talked about it.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier in the stream.
Goku became a Super Saiyan because of his empathy for life. So he became a Super Saiyan because of his empathy for his friend Krillin. Whereas, and that's what triggered, and it does have to do with rage, because rage is what triggers their heart to freak out, and then they go Super Saiyan. But in Vegeta's case, he did not go Super Saiyan due to empathy for others. He went Super Saiyan because he's so selfish. That's the difference. He was so upset that he hadn't achieved what he wanted to achieve as a person, that the self-loathing that he felt, which he says in the manga, is what caused him to trigger to become Super Saiyan. That's the reason after he does become Super Saiyan, it reinvigorates his identity, because he was having an identity crisis at the time. So,
yeah. Sleep says, though not androids, I'd let touch me. I think he means the only android I'd let touch me are 18 and 21. Well, 21 probably touched 20. Well, maybe not. Eric says, this is way before Diddy is his bad touch from the Bloodhound Gang. I remember that song, bro. Yeah.
Yep,
what was it? Put your hands down my pants and I'll bet you'll feel nuts.
I'm
like, well, you're like Ebert and I give you 2 thumbs up or whatever, bro. Yeah, I remember when that song came out, bro. I was in high school, I think. All right. So now Piccolo's really confident. And now Trunks sees the dead head of 19. What kind of artificial human is this? Just what in the world is everyone fighting against? So because you said it's the same Trunks, do you think that in the original future timeline, it was that 17 and 18 were numbered 19 and 20, and that when he went back, he changed his own timeline? Like, how
there
do
could be all kinds of explanations for it. Personally, I think the most logical explanation is that Android 19 and 20 did initially attack, and those were initially the androids that attacked, but Trunks and Gohan did not discover the androids that were attacking until it was 17 and 18 rather than 19 and 20. So that's the reason that they have the mix up. Now, that's completely headcanon. And to be honest with you, this is just like, I think this is just a side effect of the plot itself changing as a side effect of the editorial department. But I do think that you could easily answer this by just saying, hey, Trunks misunderstood the names, because in both timelines, both set of androids did still attack. So,
yeah, but why wouldn't he tell Goku there were 4 androids then?
Because I don't think he knew about the previous 2 androids. I just think that he thought 17 and 18 were 19 and 20, despite the fact that they weren't. That's what I think.
Okay, but in the story of Trunks, the manga version and the anime version, he fights them and he knows they're 17 and 18.
Right. I'm just saying that in terms of explaining why he changes the name here, because like you said, that Trunks special is answering the backstory of this Trunks. It's referring to this Trunks specifically, right? So
but you said it's the same Trunks as the one that already came.
That's what I'm saying. So if that's the case, the only explanation would be that whenever he traveled the first time, he just got the names mixed up. That's it. That's literally the only explanation, because the future Trunks stuff is in reference to this Trunks specifically. Like they go into it to explain this Trunks, not some random third Trunks. So
well, I mean, I'm just saying that there's evidence that this might not be the same Trunks. However, it gets more convoluted because in the anime version, he only refers to them as 17 and 18, not 19 and 20.
The thing
so
is, okay,
that would mean that maybe Toriyama made a mistake.
I'll tell you that and I think he did. I think that's the point of what I'm trying to say. I think the main thing you can use to confirm that there is not a third Trunks is the number of timelines that actually exist.
There's 4.
Yeah, because if there was another third Trunks, there would be another timeline, and there's not. So the fact that there's not suggests that this is the same Trunks. Like I said, I think it's just an editorial oversight. That's really how I see it.
Yeah. 347, Trunks confusion. Yeah, brother, everyone's confused. So he doesn't know what the hell's going on, but he sees there's fighting going on. He's going to go check it out. That thing was nothing like the artificial humans that I've seen. What does it mean there are 3 of them? He has no idea what's going on either. But you know what? I like it because Toriyama's building up mystery. Like he's building up a little mystery here where you as a reader are like, hey, I want to know what happens next. Like, what does he mean?
What's he doing?
Yeah. What does he mean by that? Like, did something get fucked up? Did something change? Did I change something?
Yeah.
Apparently, in the original history, we're all supposed to be wiped out by 2 artificial humans, but it appears history's been changed. Could it be that you aren't as dreadful as we were first led to believe? Or perhaps we've just become too strong for you? I think it was the second one. And then they're all happy because they won. I'm a little uneasy about Vegeta and Piccolo become so strong, but for the time being, we can rest at ease. That's true. Piccolo, hurry up and finish him off. That is, unless you want me to step in and do it for you. And he's like, no. And I like how Piccolo and Vegeta are very much alike when it comes to this type of shit. I was born evil incarnate, separate from God's being. I'm nowhere near as soft as Goku. Poor Goku, man. Vegeta and Piccolo tee off on his softness. And they're like, who's that? And then there's Trunks. Now he says, Piccolo out loud says, Trunks is here. That's the first time that Vegeta has heard the name of that boy. Because remember, the boy he told Goku his name and Piccolo overheard it with the Namekian ears. But Vegeta didn't know his name was Trunks. And I remember in the anime, he's like, Torankusu?
Yeah.
And like his eyes zoom in, Torankusu, right here.
Yeah.
Trunks? Did he say Trunks? That's the same name my son has. The same as, and he came from the future. And then he realizes the whole time, like, man,
can you imagine the light bulb that came on in his head? That's wild. That would freak me out. Like
that would freak me out.
I would probably have like a little existential crisis if I figured that out.
That's my son from the future.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no different than how in Terminator, John Connor had to send Kyle Reese back in time so that he could be born. Can you imagine, like, hey, I'm sending my father back in time to go fuck my mom? Yeah. It's weird, man. These time travel stories are weird. And then here he's saying he has to go back to the lab because there's more guys. Like, he doesn't even know anything about Trunks.
Right.
Like, he knows Trunks existed because of the spy robot, but he doesn't know anything about how strong he is or anything. So now they're all trying to figure everything out. And then Piccolo's like, this is not one of the androids? What are you saying? So the whole thing is, what the hell is going on? Why are these not the right androids? What is happening? That's the whole point here of the story. So some Bulma stuff here played up for comedy mostly. She does end up going back to the battlefield. And then he's like, well, what the hell do you call that? And then they're like, that's not that big of a deal. I mean, history has already changed quite a bit. And that's true. Yeah, maybe the butterfly effect is why we got 19 and 20.
Right.
And now he's saying he has to go to a laboratory. So then she shows up, right? Hey, look, that's him. That's the artificial human, ain't it? And then there she is. And then I'm speaking the truth when I said you had no chance. Number 17 and 18 will be here to kill you soon. And that's like when he opened his mouth. Maybe he shouldn't have opened his mouth. But when he opened his mouth, he just revealed the real enemy, at least for now. Justin says, hey, at least Dragon Ball did time travel better than the MCU. I don't think they did, bro. I think it actually makes more sense in the MCU.
Time travel in the MCU is derivative of what they use in Dragon Ball. So it's a similar principle. It's just
it is, yeah.
Yes, but similar. The issue with this is, again, there's editorial oversight because Trunks, it really is just due to the fact that the villains changed. I mean, that is really what it is. I think Dragon Ball would have been able to handle time travel on par with a lot of other series if it wasn't for the editorial oversight. I really do think that's the only issue with this whole thing. I really do.
Yeah, and I feel like Toriyama himself kind of got lost in the story a bit.
Yeah.
And then so he fires a little blast to try to go after the basically the ship that Bulma's in, and that's Trunks is there. He's not going to be happy about that, and his baby equivalent is there, and Trunks saves him, and then Vegeta is like, where the hell did he go? And then Trunks gets pissed because, and I actually remember this part, he gets pissed off because Vegeta hasn't shown any kind of affection for Bulma or him as a baby, and Trunks is like, this motherfucker, you know what I'm saying, like right here. Why didn't you do anything to help them? Don't you care about your son and his mother? What nonsense. I have no interest of things such as sentiment. Get out of my way. What an asshole Vegeta is, bro. Oh, he's good now, isn't he? Who said he was good in the chat, bro? Who said he was good in the chat? Where you at? Where you at, bro? He literally said, fuck my wife and kid. I just want to fight. Fuck this guy,
and they make this even more apparent in the anime because the ship getting destroyed is so much more blatant, and Vegeta barely caring is much more blatant as well. But
yep, he deserved to get his arm busted. Sorry, but it's true. So they're talking to Bulma about it or whatever. Chapter 348, the laboratory. So this is where they go and try to find the laboratory. Well, 20 gets there first. This conversation is relatively simple, but I do want to highlight something. My only explanation is the history itself has been thrown out of whack, probably due to my coming to the past earlier. He mentioned number 17 and 18. Those are probably the artificial humans you warned us about. Tell us what they look like, and we can't afford to make the same mistake. Yeah, so now he just describes what they look like, so that way they know for sure these are the right androids.
Right.
And then their whole thing is, oh yeah, Goku's got the heart virus, etc. And then they're trying to find the laboratory, but Bulma knows, so Bulma's useful here. There were rumors that he converted a cave into a laboratory, though. It's possible he could have relocated since then, but I had no idea Dr. Gero was connected to the Red Ribbon Army. Mm-hmm. He needs to get one of these hats, bro. Or like, what was that line that 13 made about Trunks' hair? $5 haircut or whatever, something like that.
Oh, yeah. I think it was $10, but yeah.
Yeah, and the dub. That was actually a funny line. So they're trying to, their whole thing is they want to destroy the androids before they wake up. But he says he wants to be the first one in line to fight them. So typical, we talked about this last Mangalorian. This arc is the arc of bad logical decisions made by a lot of characters, both good and bad. You should want to kill them before they wake up and destroy the laboratory. But no, Vegeta wants to go fight him because he's a martial artist and he wants to test himself and all that. And it's going to backfire because there is such thing as you ain't that strong.
Right.
Don't underestimate the artificial humans. Piccolo-san is rich. Is right. He should try to destroy them before they activate. If we can't make it in time to do that, we should avoid any fighting until Son Goku-san gets over his illness. They're trying to say, he's saying to avoid them. And then Vegeta, not Vegeta, bro. There's no need to wait on Kakarot. Can't you see that I've become a Super Saiyan as well? Now that both of us are a Super Saiyan, there's no way his strength exceeds my own, the strength of a prince. He doesn't care. He's full of himself at this point.
Yeah.
It's all about him. It's all about him. And then Piccolo says it's true. His power did surpass Goku's. I can become a Super Saiyan as well, but I was in no way a match for the two of them. Their strength is unimaginable. I'm going after him. He may be a jerk, but I'm not going to let my father die all over again. So there they go. And then this is where the truth is revealed. There's no sense keeping it a secret anymore. That boy's name is Trunks. His father's Vegeta, and you are his mother. In other words, he's the grown-up version of the baby in your hands. Right there, bro.
I love little Trunks' face. I love his face. He's so serious.
Can you imagine being told that?
That'd be insane, yeah. But I love little Trunks' face. I can't get over it. He's like, yeah, Mom, that's me. Look at the way he's looking at Bulma. He's like, yeah, Mom, that's me. That's hilarious.
Do you remember that line? What was the scene in the anime where he rubs on Bulma's titty? He's like, oh.
Yeah, I do remember that.
It was only in the anime when she's holding him. I love it, bro. And then he's like, now you mentioned there isn't a resemblance, you know? So they're trying to figure everything out or whatever. And what ends up happening is Gohan decides to take Bulma away to safety and Yajirobe, while the others go fight the android. So Gohan is now leaving the team temporarily, not permanently. Are we still on the air? Oh, we are. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought that was a mistake there. And the others are going to. So basically, Trunks just entered the party and Gohan just left the party. Right. Does that make sense? Like an RPG.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So and Bulma and Yajirobe, they're out of there. So he's hiding. They're looking for him. Again, he can do the best he can. He realizes that's Bulma, the daughter of the head of Capsule Corp. So, she may have asked her father about me. There's no doubt about it. They're headed straight towards the laboratory. Yeah, because he has to beat them there because Bulma helped them find the laboratory. Yeah. Not entirely, but close enough. There'll be plans to destroy number 17 and number 18 before I can activate them. There's no way I'll let that happen. I never told anyone its exact location, but they won't be able to find it without having to do a bit of searching. Even taking the long way, I still will beat him there. So he's on his way. And then there's this whole thing where Trunks, this is the beginning of Trunks' daddy issues right here. Do you want to go into this?
Sure.
So Trunks never met his father. Bulma told him about his father. And she basically was like, his pride prevented him from showing kindness and openness, but she could always tell that he's not that bad. There's good in there.
And then Trunks is like, Mom was full of shit. Like this guy's an asshole.
Right. Yeah. She doesn't realize that the Vegeta of the future was probably a lot softer than this Vegeta. Because here's the thing. Before I get to Justin's question, think about it for a minute. Why is future Vegeta? What is the difference between present Vegeta and Super Vegeta with relation to Super Saiyan? We know that Vegeta in the future also unlocks Super Saiyan. But here's the difference. Trunks went back in time and went Super Saiyan. Vegeta felt like even more of a beta male because two guys had surpassed him in this timeline, whereas in the original timeline, there is no Trunks except for the baby. Right. So Vegeta in the future timeline is not going to be as angry as this Vegeta.
Right.
Because this Vegeta has more of a chip on his shoulder.
He's
I
been
don't know if
slighted,
anybody, I don't know if anybody thought about that. No, it has nothing to do with Goku. Has nothing to do with Goku, bro. At least not based on anything we know. So Justin says, so Dr. Gero was afraid 20 was Dr. Gero was 20 all along. Well, not all along. He became 20. He put his brain in there, which means that he willingly made robots that steal energy by fondling other people. How hasn't this cycle been to catch a predator? Well, you said one of them was Dan Schneider, bro. So I suppose, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe because everybody he touches
If
is over
19
18.
is Dan Schneider, who's 20? Answer that in the chat.
What?
If 19 is Dan Schneider, who's 20?
Yeah, who's 20, bro? Diddy or R. Kelly?
Yeah, answer that in the chat.
I don't even know, bro. Jeffrey Dahmer.
See what creative answers they can come up with.
Here's a question. Will we see Zamasu return and get the third eye? Yes, bro. In Dragon Ball Daima episode 20, Zamasu will appear out of nowhere with no explanation, even though he doesn't even exist yet. He will appear, he will beat Goma and take the third eye. So, yes, he'll return. Come on, man. Really now?
So apparently 20 is Bill Cosby.
Is that what he said?
Bill Cosby, Joe Biden, and Epstein so far.
Oh, I see people are saying that in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Multiple people. Yeah. Oh, those are all bad, bro. Those are all bad. That's right. He can become a Super Saiyan as well. After all, he is my son. It's because of me that he even had the blood of a Saiyan. Now he's starting to get a little bit of that cockiness, bro.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he's like, it doesn't matter. He can become a Super Saiyan. That's all me. The only reason he can become Super Saiyan is because of me anyway. So
but I love that because even though it's Trunks, he still finds a way to make it about him, bro.
Yep.
He still finds a way to make it about him. Chapter 349, chapters number 17 and 18 are awakened. So going through this quickly here, there's no sense in going through it slowly. They're trying to find the lab in the mountains, which is very hard to find. Very hard. I don't remember in the anime were the mountains made of ice because I don't remember that.
No, I think it consistently took place in like a barren like desert like area. I don't.
Yeah.
Think, yeah.
Because it was 9 miles southwest of South City or whatever.
Yeah.
They're not there anymore, but they're not far from it.
Right.
But it's interesting that in the manga, they chose to color the mountains snowy when in the anime they weren't snowy at all.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if it changed anything, but they are talking about how cold it is. So maybe that's why that choice was made to color them in that color.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't hate it. It's a stark difference. Because I remember in the anime, it was not like that.
Right.
How long are you planning to tag along? Keep an eye on me. Get lost. I'll do the Vegeta voice. Get lost already. You're starting to get on my nerves. I'll do no such thing. Not as long as you intend to fight the artificial humans. What are you going to do once I track down that laboratory? Will you destroy the artificial humans even if it means fighting me?
That wasn't a bad Trunks, by the way. You did a really good Trunks.
But the Vegeta sucks?
It's just not as good as the Trunks.
Okay.
Sure.
It will likely come to that. I'll say it again. You underestimate the strength of number 17 and number 18. Telling that to a pure Saiyan just makes me want to fight them all the more.
That's much better. You did a much better job that time.
That's the problem. Yes. I'm channeling old Sabbath, young Sabbath, old Dragon Ball Z dub. But that right there is the issue, bro. The fact that he wants to fight them, and it's almost like Trunks is tickling his balls to fight them more, you know. Sleep says, I can already see someone thinking Zamasu will be in Daima, and then they make it a Facebook post about it. I'm sure there's worse. Trust me. All right, let's keep going. Like I'm sure there's already a lot of fake leaks for Daima out there, bro. Just don't believe anything you see. So now he's on the ground. He's now on the ground. And again, hiding from everybody. Krillin is there. And then he found it. He gets in quickly. There's the laboratory. It has been found. You know, I think in the anime, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't it take like 2 whole episodes before they found the laboratory?
It took a while. Yeah, yeah. I remember it being way too long. Yeah,
I remember that too, because I remember thinking like when I was watching it, I was like, shouldn't they already be at the laboratory by now?
Yeah.
Like I thought that was, you know, something different.
I think it's because they cut to Goku suffering from the heart virus a bit more, and
that's yeah. You're right. I and the comedy with Yajirobe. I like this, bro. Randy Orton will return in Daima episode 20 and RKO the third eye out of Goma. We might see Randy Orton come back this week. Just won't be on Daima. Remember, there is a pay-per-view the very next day. Rikia T. Gibson. Toriyama's mind was so calculated, making sure each character ended the 13th or 14th page. Ended on the 13th or 14th page because he didn't want to miss deadlines and, well, just get done with the chapter. Well, the other thing, too, to add to what you're saying about Toriyama's writing process is that he was also a procrastinator. This dude had a week to write his chapter, and if the chapter was due on a Monday, he wouldn't write it till Saturday. He would dick around all week, right? And then he would write it up on Saturday and Sunday, submit it, and this is confirmed even more in that recent interview, and the editors would barely make changes. Yeah. And then it's done. Like let's go. Yeah, he was something else, bro. He was his writing style, his writing methods were unlike anybody else. All right, so moving on, he gets in there. We have the 17 and 18 pods. He pushes the buttons. They wake up. Now we got problems. So you've awakened number 17. Good morning, Dr. Garo-sama. And then, a greeting for me, but of course, you're my creator. Excellent. Like he's recovered. Now it's like he's recovered nicely. And now number 18 is awake. Good morning, Dr. Garo-sama. I see you've become an artificial human yourself. Yes, I desired eternal life. You know, I'll admit your demeanor is a relief while attempting to keep the majority of your function working alongside both of your tremendous strength and the perpetual energy reactors. That's something I need to do a whole video on, the perpetual energy reactors. I was unable to maintain control, resulting in the two of you ignoring my commands up until now, that is. What he doesn't understand is that he was able to upgrade the androids. Oh, I got to get this super chat out of the way. Thank you for the super chat, though. Thank you. And yeah, Toriyama was a beast. So, 17. So, he was able to upgrade them, but they were delinquents before he found them. And they're very free-spirited and very rebellious, as many teenagers would be. And I don't think he understood just how rebellious they were. Because unlike Android 19, who was a robot that was programmed to do what he wanted, he gave them free will and just assumed they'd be working for him.
Right.
And that's bad. So, and it backfires on him. So they're there. They're trying to break it open, you know, whatever. And then 17 grabs the remote control, which is their shutoff mechanism. This is control use trigger our emergency shutdown, isn't it? Just in case you get a little out of hand, smashed it. Like now you can't shut them down.
17 as a character is one of those characters that I really like to immerse myself into his character. Because I do like to imagine what it would be like to be like, you know, a deviant teenage kid who's just, you know, who is violent by nature, rebellious by nature, being turned into like a superhuman against your own will. That would be really like the things that you would be experiencing psychologically would be very, very unique It'd be really hard for you not to develop a god complex at that point, you know.
Well, he kind of has one.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
He sort of has one, even more than 18. You're never putting us to sleep again, you stupid geezer. Well, the betrayal has happened, bro. Justin says, Android 17 and 18 look like teenagers. Dr. Garrow no doubt started to experimenting on them when they were children. Who said these two to him? Neil Gaiman? No, bro. Well, I don't know about Neil Gaiman. I haven't looked into that scandal. But no, he found them when they were teenagers.
So here's a cool little fun fact, you guys.
According to Toriyama. Go ahead.
Here's a cool little fun fact you guys might not know, but 18's design, particularly, and I guess by extension 17, is from a chapter of what's that guy with the sword and the Trunks hair, the demon guy with the hair with the ears, and he's got Trunks hair. No. Gogo Akman. There's a chapter of Gogo Akman.
Gogo Akman, that's right.
Yeah, where there's this delinquent teenage girl who looks exactly like 18. She's got a knife and she's like robbing people, and it's exactly the same design. It's basically all one.
And that was before. Was that before this?
Yeah, that was before. Yeah, so if you're curious about that, you can go look that up. I'm pretty sure they have Gogo Akman on the Shonen Jump app. Or the Viz app. You can go look at that right now if you want, because I'm pretty sure it's a part of the manga.
No, not right now. When the stream ends.
Well, right when the stream ends.
When the stream ends, yeah.
Yeah.
Gogo Akman is part of the Toriyama manga theater.
Yeah.
So if you have that, then
you can check it out. Yeah,
you can check it out. Yeah, and it's cool because there's. I tell all Dragon Ball fans to check that out because you learn a lot more about Toriyama by reading his other works, not Dragon Ball. The issue that people have, and it was proven this past week with Daima, is that their perception of what Toriyama's work is hype transformations and badassery. And while some of that is in his work, it's literally like maybe 20%. The other 80% of his work is not even anywhere close to that. And the best way to learn about Toriyama is not by reading Dragon Ball, even though you should. It's by reading the non-Dragon Ball stuff to see what else he was writing.
Right.
Because Toriyama had so much stroke after Dr. Slump like blew up that he could write whatever he wanted and they would publish it. I mean, look at Lady Red.
Yeah.
All right, you're talking about Piccolo's fingers. Go to my channel, which you're on right now, and look up Piccolo's Fingers Explained. I did a whole video on that, on why there's 4 in the manga and 5 in the anime. Did a whole video on that years ago.
It does look weird though, especially here. I think the 4 fingers look more appropriate on the original King Piccolo. Actually, it's kind of jarring to me with the actual.
Remember, he grew that extra finger, and then Toriyama wrote, "Yes, he has 1 extra finger just for this panel or whatever."
Yeah.
Because he wanted to give him the 5. Yeah. All right. 17, 18, and 16. So they arrive there. Trunks is like, no, wait for Goku. Vegeta's like, fuck you. I'm going to go in anyways. Yeah. And then he's like, okay, these are the ones, right? He's like, yes, these are the right ones. And then 20's like, oh, that's them. Like, that's Goku's friends. 18 says, why'd you go back to the old energy absorption type for a newer model? Could it be that you found the perpetual energy model too powerful to keep under your control? And that's exactly what it was. He realized that they were going to be hard to control. So then he made 19.
Yeah.
Stop whining. We'll fight them when we're good and ready, old man.
That's a good way of explaining why 19 is kind of a regression too, you know, in comparison to 17 and 18. That's a cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And he probably thought because of his data, that would be enough.
Yeah.
That would be enough to beat Goku. Justin says, imagine Piccolo arrives at Dr. Garrow's doorstep. Piccolo shouts, FBI, open up. Yeah. ATF, open up. Psst, psst, psst. The block is hot. The block is hot. That's a reference from the 90s. So they find the pod for 16. Now, Trunks has no idea that there's a 16. That's because in the future timeline, things were different. I did a video, I think last year, it wasn't even that old. I think the video was called Where is 16 the Future Timeline, where I go into that. So there's a whole story behind that as well. He's freaking out because 16 was an experimental failure and he doesn't want to activate him. But 17 and 18 were like, you kind of feel that way about us, don't you? It's like you kept them around for a long time. It seems you've disposed of everything through number 15. I was planning to rebuild him in time, but that doesn't matter if you activate him now. You could be signing each of our death warrants. And then Vegeta says, "Go ahead and do that. After all, I'm the only one here who can handle these things." Vegeta is so annoying in this. He's such a dick in this arc, bro. Like, he's really annoying. I still love the character. I'm not saying I don't, but he's really obnoxious because he's so overconfident.
Yeah, he's like, what people give Goku shit for being, despite the fact that Goku's not like that at all. Like,
Goku has real confidence.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's that fake confidence that's really annoying. Yeah,
that boastful ego that he's got. Yeah. So they're like, okay, go ahead and activate him. And he's like, did you hear a word that I said? Ba-bam! Don't touch that switch. Arm through the chest. They're freaking out. What do you think? Ba-bam! Kick this fucking head off. Very brutal, bro. Very brutal.
Yeah, the head coming off thing is something Toriyama's enjoying doing for sure.
And then he crushed him, bro. Look how violent that is, dog. He crushed him. That's his father. I mean, not really, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. And I definitely think that whenever Toriyama has 16's head crushed later on, that he was thinking about this scene. I'll stand by that.
I'm sure that there's thematic tie-ins here. RPT says, no matter how much I get beat down, my pride will never break. Vegeta the Fourth. Yeah. I mean, he's got pride. Goku does too, but Vegeta's pride gets him in trouble in this arc. Big time. He's not listening to Trunks. Trunks has already experienced these fucking things. He's from the future. Just imagine if somebody comes back in time from the future and they say, hey, Jordan, next week's lottery numbers are 7, 6, 42, 27, 9, 12. And you say, oh, thanks. I'm going to just pick the same numbers I picked because I think I'm going to win myself. And then the numbers that he told you actually win the lottery, that's Vegeta here, except on a much more dangerous scale.
Yep.
Dr. Gero was more like 17's Violator, not his father. Violator from Spawn?
In some ways, you're right. I mean, he did artificially change him, without permission or
Yeah, right. He killed his own. What a monster. He killed his own creator. So what? They kill those they don't like, regardless of who they are, just like the Saiyans. You soft-hearted earthlings could never understand. I like how Vegeta, can relate to them now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Trunks powers up. This is in the anime where he goes, no!
Yeah.
And he fires this big-ass blast trying to get rid of them. Everyone's like, you idiot. And he's like, why don't you warn us? And he's like, no, you fucked everything up. But 17 and 18 saved the pod. They did not die. They open it, and out comes 16. Now, at the time, we did not know, but 16 was modeled after Dr. Gero's real son, Gevo. But I want to make this clear to people because I see it all the time. People get it wrong. This is not Gevo. Gevo died on a red ribbon base. The artificial human was made up to look like Gevo, but it's not him. Same thing with Vomi. 21 and Vomi are not the same person. 21 died, and then Dr. Gero, as part of his coping, which I talked about in my Androids Explained video, as part of his tragic coping, he created a robot that looked just like his son. That's kind of like some fucking Outer Limit shit, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Were you in the server that night that I streamed that episode with the robot kid.
Yes.
And that episode fucked with me, bro.
Yeah, that was wild. Yeah.
Yeah, where like the face came off and shit. Like that reminds me of this, just in the reverse.
Yeah.
So we don't know for sure if Goku killed him, but we suspect it. Dragon Ball, the chapter 51, the mysterious number 16. He's awake. He kind of looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger a little bit. Trunks has no idea who he is. He's like, I've never seen this artificial human before. He's all quiet. 16, this is your first time I've seen you active. How does it feel being outside after all these years? He doesn't say anything. Dr. Garo was adamant against starting you up. He said we'd be signing our own death warrant. We'd like to know what he meant by that. Any idea? He just looks at him.
He just
Don't
smiles.
want to say anything? Yeah. Or maybe you just aren't fond of talking. He was talking about the bomb, I'm guessing, right?
Probably.
I'm guessing
he
that
might not have trusted 16 as well. I'm wondering if part of the reason that 16 is kind of a pacifist is because Garo like overcompensated with his programming because he was scared of him. Like that's something I do wonder about.
Yeah, or maybe Gevo, it was an aspect of Gevo's personality that he liked nature and shit.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. But it's interesting because like I think the reason as to why he says signing your own death warrant was the bomb, because the way that it was always implied is that the bomb was there in case he couldn't beat Goku single-handedly. He would have to blow himself up. But here's the thing. That explosion wouldn't just have killed Goku. That explosion could have broken the Earth in half or maybe blown up the entire planet. And that's why I think Dr. Garo was like, no, don't awaken him. Don't awaken him.
Yeah, it's like waking up a nuclear bomb. Yeah.
Right. That's the way I see it, because it makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Based on everything we've seen. It's not stated directly, but it makes the most sense because when Bulma's looking through his programming later on and sees the bomb, she's like, this is dangerous.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It couldn't have been just a little bomb. Justin Sullivan says, when did Dragon Ball get celebrity guest stars? Dr. Garo crossed the line, kidnapping and experimenting on a former governor of California. Yeah. Yeah, that's him, bro. So they just want to leave. They actually don't want to fight. They want to leave, which is unlike the future androids. They just took off. What are they planning on doing? Where are they going? And he's like, oh, they thinks for sure they won't be attacking North City. They aren't going the right way. What if they're headed to Goku's house? Dr. Garo's entire plan was to get Goku back for bringing down Red Ribbon Army. Yeah, but why would they follow Dr. Garo's orders? Who cares? None of that's important. I want to go fight them myself. Fucking Vegeta, bro. Trunks gets in the way again. Leave him alone. Let's wait for Goku. Vegeta, fuck you. See? He's like, we need his help. We have to beat him. But Vegeta is stubborn.
Vegeta, yeah.
Yeah, and he punches him in the chest. His own son, he hits him in the chest. Down he goes. Who needs Kakarot? Have I not become a Super Saiyan as well? Bro, him becoming a Super Saiyan is like the biggest power trip he's ever had in his entire life.
It's a literal ego boost, which I like because it kind of it highlights what Goku was going through on Namek. That's
his version of it.
Yeah, and that's what I like about the way that Vegeta is characterized, despite the fact that he is annoying. You are right about that. But I do like that he exaggerates the effect that Super Saiyan has on your personality. I do like that. Yeah.
He thinks that because he's become Super Saiyan, that nobody in the universe can fuck with him. Because I think what it is because he always was programmed into believing that Frieza was the strongest in the universe, and because he saw Goku go Super Saiyan and beat Frieza, I think that's why, and he surpassed Goku and he beat 19. That's why he's so fucking confident.
Oh, yeah. He's definitely feeling himself. That's for sure.
Yep. and they're there, and then they actually talk to him. There's a bit of humanity left. You incorrect. I was created from nothing. Yeah, he was. He was just. That's what I'm saying. This is not Gevo. It's modeled after Gevo.
Right.
Did TFS make Vegeta more egotistical? TFS did a lot of things that weren't in the manga or the anime, but we can't talk about TFS here because it'll make the stream longer. But yes, the TFS is a parody of Dragon Ball. This is Dragon Ball.
Yeah, they exaggerate everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, they exaggerate everything. And that's part of the humor. You aren't human-based and you're fundamentally different from us. Yes, that's strange if Dr. Gero has the technology to build an artificial human from the ground up. Then why did he go back to using human-based types for the two of us? Long time no see. I didn't expect to find you three loitering around the place like this. So Vegeta wants to fight, of course, because they talk trash. He calls them wind-up dolls. And they're over here like 17's got an ego like Vegeta, but not as much.
Yeah.
But it's there. 18's the one that wants to fight, though. I
think it's. I remember whenever. Don't get me wrong. Like 18 does disrespect Vegeta pretty hardcore, but the way that 17 talks to Vegeta, I always thought was awesome because it's like at that point you're waiting for a character to put Vegeta in his place. Like you're like waiting for somebody to humble him, and I think 17 was a great addition in that sense for that purpose. Like
especially after this line right here.
Yeah.
Because 18 is the one that did it. I warn you, I won't go easy on you just because you're a woman, but you're not a woman. No, you're merely a thing. Well, she was a woman. Chapter 352, Vegeta versus 18. So he thinks going to be in the bag. She goes at him first. Vegeta seems to be, I mean, he's doing okay, but she's faster than he anticipated already. Like already she's moving fast. Like you could tell Vegeta's on the defensive here. Like if you just look at his face, the way Toriyama drew his face, like he's, you know, it's not easy for him.
Yeah, this is one of those things that if this happened in the modern era, people would be calling Dragon Ball trash because
they call it woke. They would call it woke.
Yeah.
I'm sure they would.
Well, not just woke, but the fact that Super Saiyan got disrespected so fast. You know what I mean? Like they would have all kinds of things to say about this in the modern era, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure they would. How could Vegeta remember that guy who said that it's woke because the guys don't have muscle anymore?
Yeah, I do.
And I was like, you want big muscles? You're gay. How could Vegeta knee his own son like that? Someone put Vegeta on the Steve Wilkos show. That's the Steve Wilkos is the that was Jerry Springer's like bodyguard, right? The bald guy.
Yeah.
That's right. I remember they gave him his own show. So Vegeta's actually getting some hits in, and they're even saying that Vegeta's stronger than they thought. And then Vegeta says, I don't even know if he's taking any damage. He's about to Big Bang attacker, right? Here comes this trucker. She gets out of the way. He's dead, bro. This fucking dude
destroys the trucker.
Bro, but this dude looks like Ernest P. Worrell, bro.
Also, that hat's very similar to the type of hats that
Ernest wears
himself. Yeah, he would draw it on himself. He gave himself a version of that hat.
Yeah, but this is Ernest, bro.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch the Ernest movies?
Yeah, I remember Ernest. Yeah, of course. I actually know a guy who is like he's like the modern Ernest. Like he does his own versions of. Like he's been in like TV commercials and stuff like that. His name's Billy Crank. If you want to look into him, he does a really good impression of Ernest. He's like a modern, Ernest in himself.
There's Ernest right there, bro. There's Ernest right there. Oh, geez. Okay, let's get back to it. You know, and then Vegeta blasts the truck. So that dude's dead. Don't worry, Jordan. I can see their parachutes. He's all right. So you're faster than I give you credit for. So you haven't given me your best. Of course I haven't. If I were to fight you seriously, I doubt the planet could handle it. Fuck, bro. And then she's like, I'll tell you what I'll do. And then she headbutts him. And then he punches her. She doesn't feel anything. He knees him back. She fucking palm strikes him, which is very rare to see in Dragon Ball, but I'm glad we saw it, into the mountain. Are you all right, Vegeta-san? You pests sure know how to ruin my fun. Do you honestly believe that you will be of any help against her? Chapter 353, as you'd expect of Vegeta. Talk about a fitting name. I do like that motorcycle, though.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I do like it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Toriyama's custom vehicles are always a treat.
Trunk shows up, and he says, get out of here now. He says, I'll give you a beating. Get in line. They're just talking shit. They're all just talking shit. He says, let me be clear. If it came down to fighting alongside the Earthlings, the Namekian or Kakarot, I'd rather fight and die alone before accepting help from any of them. Which that's in
Gonna bite him in the ass. Yeah.
That's in character for Vegeta, bro. Oh, that was an excellent speech. I can see from your skills on the battlefield that you're every bit the Saiyan Prince. A punk kid like you has no business praising the likes of me. So keep it to yourself. It's obvious that each of you respects the warrior's code, but I feel it's only proper to warn you. If any of you interfere with Vegeta in 18 one-on-one fight, I'll have to step in. I love this as a kid because it's very much like, and I've said this before, like how fights used to be in school when you had like friends and brothers. When you had people fighting on the streets in school, in middle school, high school, it was supposed to be like, one-on-one.
Yeah, let them handle it themselves. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But if one of the fighters had a best friend or a brother there, they would tell the other guys, if any of you motherfuckers jump in, you got to fight me to keep it fair. And sometimes you had to do that because there were a lot of fights where people would jump in like a pack of hyenas.
This also reminds me a lot of whenever Vegeta like was first introduced and he was so cocky that he was like, let's have a one-on-one tournament, Cybermen. It reminds me of a lot of that whole thing. It's like that whole thing.
But I love how he's like, if any of you jump in, you got to fight me. I'm not going to jump in, but if you jump in. So
yeah.
Matches Peaches. This has been the joke of the day. Geekdom, make sure you credit Toriyama in this stream or his ghost will send a mob after you. Hope all is well. Keep going. He's talking about the Tablos thing, bro.
Yeah, don't get me started.
That I credited him in the video, but he wanted me to credit him in the tweet for some fucking reason. The one that really
was dumb I put out my manga, my art for free for years. In fact, there's tons of people who don't know that I created a very, very popular fan manga that got billions of views on YouTube because I'm not egotistical about the fact that I did that. So I just can't relate to that attitude at all. Like I really can't.
Well, the issue was that I did credit him in the video.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I still don't.
He wanted me to credit him in the tweet as well.
Yeah.
The tweet links to the video. When someone goes to the video, they see his name there. And then his Mr. Katos and the rest of these idiots were like, oh, but what if they don't want to watch the video? The point of the tweet is to go see the video.
Also, if you don't know that art is Tablos's at this point, like you're literally living under a rock.
The Dragon Ball fandom on Twitter has become more and more pathetic every single year. It's like during the pandemic, they got some like bitch disease that made them all into bitches. Everything has to be whiny. It has to be the way they want it. It has to be this way, this way, this way, or you're a bad person. And it's like, that's not how the real world works. They have these rigid rules that, by the way, they change whenever the fuck they want. And I just wipe my ass with them. And that's why they don't like me, because I wipe my ass with them. Because I'm not going to let some virgin on the internet who thinks he's tough tell me what to do, bro. Right. I don't even let grown men in my life tell me what to do, much less some fucking nerd who draws Goku art.
Right.
I'll fucking shove that pencil right up your fucking ass and you won't do nothing. You'll do two things, nothing and like it.
People are asking about my work in the chat. If you're interested in my work, go to YouTube, type in Dragon Ball Infinity. You'll find tons of videos of people covering it, reading it, talking about it. Like, it's all over YouTube. Also, I write stories for Paul Rising Fist too, if you want to go check those out.
What about the stuff you put on Derek's site?
Yeah, the Dragon Ball Infinity is on Derek's site.
Oh,
It's
that
on
is Infinity. Okay, yeah.
yeah.
Then do that as well.
Yeah, go to Derek's website as well. Yeah.
Tehran Airy says, funny how the uncut English dub of Kai kept the trucker alive. I wonder why they did that when they made sure to keep everything else accurate. I didn't know that. I don't remember that. I mean, he's probably right. I just haven't seen those episodes dubbed in Kai in forever.
Since you brought up Derek's website, there is exclusive pages on Derek's website as well. I just wanted to let you guys know that if you find the stuff on YouTube, there's some stuff that's like exclusive to the DAOofDragonBall.com. So it's definitely worth going and checking that out for sure.
Yep. The DAOofDragonBall.com. Justin Sullivan. Fun fact. Vegeta never defeated Android 18. Vegeta rightfully got his ass whooped in this fight, both for underestimating his opponent and for his sexism towards 18. Not that 18 is a good person at this point yet. She's not a good person, but she's also not pure evil either. And that's something we come to learn as the story continues. We come to learn that she's not pure evil. She's 17 and 18 of the future. They were some evil motherfuckers. But the present timeline versions, because of the butterfly effect, were not.
Yeah.
So now
it's almost like in the future, it's almost like they embraced like the pessimism of being stuck as androids. Whereas here they're being a bit more, I guess you could say, optimistic about their situation. So,
right. So 18's like, that's what I wanted to hear. And now she goes full power on him. Now Vegeta's about to get a hurting, bro. Comes in, Vegeta tries to fight back on her. He does connect with that double axe, tries to go for another big bang attack on her, fires it, doesn't connect. Instead, he goes in. She's there. She's not afraid. You aren't even phased after that? You're really starting to get on my nerves. I'm surprised you may be an alien, but you fight remarkably well for someone made of flesh and blood. Is this Son Goku man even stronger than you are? Ooh, you know that burns.
That.
You know he doesn't like that. Diddly
Squat. Yes, that is the story I'm talking about. Yes.
Yeah. Don't be ridiculous. He may have temporarily supped ahead of me, but now everything's as it should be with me as the strongest. Yeah, Vegeta becoming Super Saiyan, bro, was like the worst thing that could have happened to his ego. Because it's kind of like how they say, like, and this can go into another tangent about Dragon Ball YouTubers being hypocritical, but the minute that you find success, it doesn't change you, it just amplifies who you really are. Yeah. That's what this is. Vegeta got Super Saiyan, and now he thinks he's far beyond Kakarot, which is not true. So he comes in with a kick. They're fighting. They're going back and forth. And then even Trunks is like, oh, he's holding his own. And then Piccolo's like, Vegeta's going to get himself killed. Because at this point, Piccolo is the exposition character. It used to be Roshi. Now it's Piccolo. Piccolo is the one that explains to everybody, including the audience, what's really going on. So he says, take a closer look. The artificial human is gradually wearing him down. The enemy's power is seemingly infinite, but Vegeta's stamina is taking a hit with every move he makes. In other words, 18 doesn't get tired, Vegeta does. Kind of like Goma in the third eye. So they're going in, and stamina is important, bro. Like I said in my breakdown, who needs lungs when you have 3 eyes? Same thing, dude. Who needs lungs when you're made of fucking cybernetic enhancements and shit? And Trunks is starting to have a meltdown, and then kablam!
Yeah, this is the panel that people would lose their shit over today, for sure.
The worst thing to ever happen to Vegeta.
Yeah, isn't this what sets off like his future arm problems? Like,
yeah,
holding his arm.
He held his arm a little bit in the Namek saga, but yeah, it's an ongoing thing where his left arm is constantly hurt.
Yeah.
She kicked the fuck out of him, bro. and broke his arm. That shit is dangling. And then here comes fucking Trunks. Tulsa! And we're done. That is the cliffhanger. Trunks decided to jump in. Oh, wait a minute. I zoomed out too far. Trunks decided to jump in, but remember, what did 17 say? The minute that you guys jump in, I'm going to jump in. So next time we do the Mangalorian, we'll be covering volume 30, which is going to begin the transition into the Cell arc. This is already the Cell arc. Some call it the Android Saga. They separated Android Saga, Cell Saga. It's really the whole thing is the Cell arc overall, or the Android arc, because Cell is an android. Let's get these last questions in. Speed Punch says, if DB aired today, people would hate Boo like Ku. Yes, they would. They would totally shit on it. They would totally shit on it. Sleep says, Vegeta all the way to semi-perfect Cell was like, hold my beer for each fight and gets his ass beat almost every time. Love it.
Yeah. That's so true.
And Sleep, you nailed it. That is true. Oh, shit. Oh, hold on. Ugh. There we go. That scene in the anime where she breaks Vegeta's arm is really impactful. Love these read-throughs, Danny and Jordan. Yeah, in the anime, it's like, bomb! It does all the slow motion. Then you see his arm, like, go down, like, limp. And then Trunks is like, oh. And then he looks at his arm, and he's like, ah! Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good shit, bro. He deserved it. Vegeta deserved it, bro. That's the karmic wheel. Justin said, whoa, the worst beating Vegeta got was from Frieza. He broke Vegeta's spine and kept wailing on him. I'm not denying that, but this time Vegeta got beat up by a woman.
Yeah, this is his worst beating if you're a misogynist, for sure.
That's right. And Vegeta was giving off those vibes. Angel Roca, I wouldn't mind 18 breaking my arm. Brother, no matter how hot you might think a woman is, I don't want her to break anything on me. I'll break her back.
No, dude. I love my wife, but she ain't breaking my arm. Hell no.
Yeah. If that's what it takes for you to get a woman to touch you, bro, she can touch you a little softer. Don't worry. He's the type of guy that likes getting finger in the ass, though, I'm guessing. Maybe I'm wrong. Kame said in school, I love how Toriyama sets up everything here. It seems like despite Trunks' best efforts, the future is still coming to pass. Yeah, it's just going a different pathway. But I talked about that. I did a video once, The Tale of Two Gohans, and I talked about how present Gohan and future Gohan have a lot of weird similarities, like the fact that both of them lost an arm in the fight, and the fact that Goku died in both timelines. It's just that the main timeline, it was postponed until the Cell part, and that's interesting. That it's almost like Final Destination, where your destiny's written, but you're taking a different pathway.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that is it for the Mangalorian Volume 29. We'll see y'all next time for Volume 30. I think Cell gets introduced in Volume 30, and we're going to have the birth of the Super Namekian. So, but first,
those are two really big topics that I'm excited to talk about for sure.
Yep, but first, the Z Fighters get smashed. So we'll see y'all then. Take care. I'll be back, of course, later this week with Daima coverage, and we'll see what happens.
See you guys.
Have a good one, all right?